Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time on this Thursday night, October the 10th. We're happy to have you guys in for another episode of the Prime Time Show. Since there's a Thursday night football game, we thought we'd come to you a little early and talk about what the Titans' game plan should be against the Indianapolis Colts. If you read the title of the show, you know what the answer is already, but I'm going to reinforce that with some points from Titans practice today, with some facts, with some information that are relevant for you to know, to understand that this is not a throwing football team, not in the year of our Lord 2024. This is not the high-flying passing offense you thought you were going to get. This is not Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. This is the 2024 Tennessee Titans, and you don't have the pieces and parts to play the style of football, or entirely the style of football, that the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow and those collection of skill position players play. So what's the alternative? Back to basics. Run the piss out of the ball and play good defense and try your damnedest not to turn the ball over. Now, you may say, well, you've just given me the entire show. Why do I need to stick around and listen to you? Well, because I've got some really, really good information from guys like Titans running back coach Randy Jordan, from Titans quarterback coach Bo Hardigree, that we're going to share for you. And of course, you want to stick around for a weekend bounce back because you know we got something funny for the end of the show. Before we get started, need you guys to share the broadcast around, whether you're hanging out with us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch. Share the broadcast around if you would be so kind. I also, because on a side screen, I have the Hurricane Milton coverage ongoing. 15 deaths confirmed so far across 4 different Florida counties. I just want to say, if you know anybody in the Florida area, in the state of Florida, who had to evacuate, anybody who was impacted by the storms, God forbid, if you've lost somebody or you know somebody who sustained an injury due to these, to the catastrophic damage, I'm seeing some of the, I couldn't take my eyes off the storm coverage last night. Jim Cantori is a madman, an insane person to continue to be doing this at his advanced age. But just wanted to say that, you know, if you're experiencing any issues, or if you have somebody in your life who has experienced some issues because of these terrible storms, we're thinking about you, and we hope that things will continue to improve on that side of things. But in the meantime, we'll talk football. We'll try to take your mind off all the bad. We'll see if we can't generate some potentially good results for this football team. Could they potentially string 2 wins in a row? Who's to say? But I think I got a pretty good formula for them to do exactly that. We'll dive into it together, but I got to start the show. Welcome into A to Z Sports Prime Time from the Zen Sports Studios. I'm your host, Buck Rising. I am proud, as always, to be presented to you by the wonderful people at True Man Fitness in the Gulch. Tomorrow is Friday, which means Arm Farm Friday at True Man Fitness. I'm looking forward to being there. Worth has been in Italy for the last couple of weeks, so it's been a while. I'm feeling a little weak. I'm feeling a little small. I need to go get a good workout in, and I'll do that at True Man Fitness, where you can get the best workout in Middle Tennessee. Of course, you know that the Primetime program also made possible by Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer, and by Zen Sports. Download the app, plug in the promo code ATOZTN, get up to $100 on your no danger first wager at zensports.com today. So, run the piss out of the ball. You may say to me, well, this is supposed, when are we going to get the passing offense that we were promised? When are we going to get the kind of results, the kind of explosive plays that this team was supposed to be able to find when they signed Calvin Ridley, when they added DeAndre Hopkins 2 off seasons ago, when they brought in Brian Callahan, who's supposed to come in here and revolutionize things? What do you mean that I'm telling you again, no, the best source of offense for this Titans football team is running the football? Well, I don't lie to you. I promise I don't. This is the style of football that you are best equipped to play. And it was interesting talking to a couple of the coaches. We talked to assistant coaches today, and I continue to maintain that the assistant coach media availability is the most valuable information that we get at any given point during the week, because these guys are on a granular level with it. They are the ones responsible for all the minutia that you guys want to know more information about. Now, sometimes, of course, they won't share all the information that they have at their disposal, but you do stand to learn a lot, because these are the people who are teaching. These are the teachers who are teaching your football players the scheme, the technique, all the proper protocols. These are the people that spend the most time with the football players and at a granular level, like I mentioned earlier. So we'll hear from 2 such assistant coaches today, Bo Hardigree and Randy Jordan, quarterbacks and running backs, as to why I think that running the piss out of the football is going to be the most successful strategy here. So the question that I'll ask you guys is this on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comment section. What is the biggest advantage the Titans have over the Colts right now? It's your Two Rivers Ford take. As always, it is made possible by the South's most trusted Ford dealer, Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com. They will put you in position to succeed. It is also Ford Truck Month at Two Rivers Ford, so go and get all of their great options. Go test drive all of their great options. They have the best financing and the best prices for your value. Two Rivers Ford in Mount Juliet, or online at tworiversford.com for more information. All right, biggest advantage for the Titans over the Colts. Now, the Titans aren't the best rushing team in football. But they are a team that has shown promise in the running game specifically. Now, I don't do this to twist the knife, but Derrick Henry, as you well know, is leading the league in rushing again with 572 rushing yards. And you got to scroll down pretty far to find Tony Pollard on this list and where he ranks, having just had a good night against the Miami Dolphins, was able to help that offense generate legitimate momentum, find ways to capitalize. But Tony Pollard only has 246 rushing yards and I believe he has 2 touchdowns on the season. Yes, 2 touchdowns on the season to date for Tony Pollard. He is also somebody who has been, fairly efficient and has Tajay Spears to help him out. Tajay, for what it's worth, for the Titans and their running back situation, he is outside of the top 100 for NFL running backs this year. Oh, no, excuse me. He is 77th. I forgot the Y in his name when I can Command F'd it on my keyboard to try and find his name faster. He has 87 rushing yards on the season to add to Pollard's 240 plus. So he ranks 77th, and then you have Tony Pollard there in the mid-20s at 25 with 246 at this point. Now, combined, they are effective, and this offensive line is effective running the football. The biggest advantage that this Titans team has offensively, the biggest advantage that the Titans have over the Colts is their defensive front. Actually, no, I don't think that's true. I think that's I meant to say the defensive secondary for the Colts is a disadvantage, and the Titans should have some opportunities in the passing game here. The best advantage, though, in this specific game is running the football with volume, running the football with physicality, finishing blocks, even if you don't perfectly execute them. And that was something we talked to Titans running back coach Randy Jordan about earlier today.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest thing is, I always tell them, you got to earn the right to have explosive plays. So I'm probably their biggest critic when it comes to finishing. I don't think nobody should tackle these guys in the open field. I mean, with the talent and explosiveness they have, there's nobody in the league that should stop you from getting extra yards if you're one-on-one. And I think it's a mindset, I think it's a mindset that comes with that. So the first thing I tell them, I said, man, they block for 15, you better go get 20. If they block for 40, you better go get 60. And so that's how I grade them in terms of, can you turn that play that was blocked for 10 to 15 or 20.
Same thing I'm imagining when they block for -2 or 0.
Yeah. I tell you, the thing is, I tell them all the time, that play right there was only blocked for -3 yards, but you got 3. That was only blocked for maybe -2, but you got back to the line of scrimmage. Those won't be on ESPN, but as a group, we know that was a fucking fantastic run, turning nothing into something.
How much can a performance like Miami kind of reiterate that message, not just because it was a win, but because what you guys were able to accomplish on the ground?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just building. And I tell people this all the time. I've been doing this a long time, and guys, Coach Callahan, Callie, all these coaches that we surround ourselves with, and I tell my guys this all the time. When you have success, I become a little bit more believable. Isn't that funny? It's funny, right? I kind of know what I'm talking about. And so it just gave us a little bit of confidence, but we should not be satisfied whatsoever because we hadn't done anything. Because every week is day to day. It's a day-to-day business, and that's the thing I love about it. So we have another chance to show what we're all about.
Thanks.
That's Titans running back coach Randy Jordan speaking earlier today at practice, and a lot of good information there from what Randy had to say. A to Z Sports Primetime is made possible by TrueMath Fitness in the Gulch. Get your first workout free as a Middle Tennessee resident. No workout ever recycled or repeated. TrueMath Fitness is your place, the best place to get the best workout in Middle Tennessee, and that first workout free. Like I said, just tell them that A to Z Sports sent you. So with that, running the air out of the ball, if Levis throws more than 20 pass attempts on Sunday, I don't think that's a winning formula. This is not a drop back passing team. They have been put into drop back passing situations. If you go through the game logs for the first 4 games of the Titans season and you see how many attempts he has thrown for, and you understand, well, and honestly, you should put Miami to the side, of course, because he finished 3 of 4 for 25 yards and the interception, because then he sustained the shoulder injury. Mason Rudolph came into the game and finished things out, but Rudolph also did not have more than 20 attempts passing in that game. Now, collectively, they did have 21 passing attempts in that game, but still, if they have more than 20 passing attempts in this football game, I don't think that's a winning formula. Levis against the Packers was 26 of 34. That's because they're chasing. Levis against the Jets, also, if you take a look at his numbers, was 19 of 28. That was not an efficient performance. It was certainly not the best performance that they had. He did put some good things on tape, but it was negated by the fumble. You have turnovers in that game that continue to cost you dearly. And then in the Bears game, he is 19 of 32 for 127, a touchdown, and 2 picks. He doesn't need to be the primary generator of offense. Maybe at some point you need him to be, but that's not where you're at right now. Put the ball in the most effective and the most trustworthy player's hands. Is that your quarterback? The answer to that right now would be definitively no. It's Tony Pollard. It's Tajay Spears. If you gotta wildcat it, make it happen. If you've got to find different ways to get Calvin Ridley involved out of the backfield, make it happen. If you got to go 2 tight end sets, honestly, if you got to go 3 tight end sets, you've got to go I formation, just to run the piss out of the football. That's your best chance to succeed in this game. So, like I said, if Levis has more than 20 passing attempts in this game, I would imagine that is a game that they have lost, because if you're running the football well, you're controlling the game efficiently. If you're running the football with volume, it means that you're doing well to close out games. And more than likely, it means that you haven't committed any costly turnovers, because if you could, that was where Tannehill was at his best. And Levis right now is just souped up, turnover prone Ryan Tannehill. He's got a lot higher level traits. Ryan Tannehill was a first-round pick. Levis was a second-round pick. But you understand why Levis could have been a first-round pick with the talent that he possesses. But when the Titans were at their best, and I understand that you thought you were changing speeds here, moving from Derrick Henry to whatever this offense might have been or was supposed to be, but the Cincinnati Bengals ran the football effectively. They ran it with volume. They ran it efficiently because they could spread defenses out, use 3 wide receiver sets. I believe we talked about this last night. You found ways with Joe Mixon to make that a volume rushing team, to lean on your rushing game and then generate the explosives off of that. Use the opportunity to take 5 to 6 to 7 yard completions in the passing game. Maybe you work a couple intermediate routes or intermediate concepts in the passing game as well to try and take advantage of advantageous looks, or maybe you get in a 2nd and 1, you want to take a shot play, whatever the case may be. Like, there are ways to orchestrate this, but for the most part, you're not that team yet. You haven't earned the right to be that team yet. But what you have earned the right to do is go out there and kick somebody's ass, because you've built that offensive line to do just that. Tony Pollard and Tajay Spears aren't Derrick Henry, but they're good enough to accomplish what you need to accomplish. And if Levis can facilitate, if Levis can facilitate, this should all work pretty seamlessly. Now, speaking of Levis, let's talk about where we are seeing the quarterback making progress. If we are seeing the quarterback make meaningful progress in these first 3 games, even though you can't ignore the fact that he threw an interception on 4 passing attempts against the Miami Dolphins. Where has Levis improved the most this season? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch is where you can give your submissions. You do that while I remind you that the Nashville Water Taxi, you got a home game this weekend for the Tennessee Titans, and the Nashville Water Taxi is the best way to get to Nissan Stadium to be able to tailgate as you please and make sure that you have the most efficient and frankly scenic ride down to Nissan Stadium humanly possible. The Nashville Water Taxi is a great value for you. And like I said, they have a very unique kind of situation for you guys to experience. They will have you park at their Lock 1 Marina. You will be able to tailgate. You will then take a 10 to 15-minute ride down the Cumberland River, and they'll drop you right off at the foot at Nissan Stadium. They've added additional times because they were so in demand for what they were able to provide. People were very quick to jump on top of that and understand just how great that could be. The Nashville Water Taxi is your place to go, so you can check out more information online at thenashvillewatertaxi.com. $20 round trips, home games all season long, and we'll continue to remind you of that before every home game. thenashvillewatertaxi.com for more information. So where has Will Levis improved? Well, you would look for his decision-making to improve, but there are things on the granular level that you and I don't understand, aren't in the meeting rooms to understand, and may not necessarily be aware of. So I asked Bo Hardigree, or we asked Bo Hardigree, I believe Teron Davenport started this conversation, and then I asked Bo a question later on in this clip, but we asked Bo Hardigree just that.
It's not really examples. It's more just like your mindset.
Okay.
Kind of, like where we are on the field. Do we have points? Do we not? Where we are in the game, a lot of times too, like if it's 3rd and long, for instance, for any kind of quarterback, do you really need to convert that? Or if you did, do you have 2 downs? Do you have that 4th down too?
Yeah.
Do you need to throw a 20-yard route when you just complete one of the sticks and you got an easier 4th down conversion? That's the same thing. That's kind of got to have it situations versus, handling normal situations in a football game.
What percentage of the time you think Will's getting to first or second read?
When you speak that, sorry.
What percentage of the time you think Will's getting to first or second read?
Good percentage. He's doing a good job. And that's all you focus about. You take the plan, you get your eyes in the right spot, and then you go from there, find a completion.
And one of those 2 guys is probably winning?
One of those 2 guys probably winning. We would expect them to win, yes.
The game manager part that you mentioned, that you want guys to be at times with a guy like Will, such a big arm, and
sure,
he loves to press it, push it down the field. Like, is it tougher to get him into that game
I think
manager?
it's intent of the play call.
Okay.
We'll go into the game. We'll have certain sections for those type of plays, and then we'll have certain sections where just spit the ball out, be a point guard.
So it's really just the play calling. That's what puts him.
That puts the intent of the call is the biggest thing for it.
Gotcha.
Like when it gets called, and then overriding that, really coming back, it is not there. Where am I going to? Getting my check down, getting to our backs, things like that.
Okay.
Is there any way to destigmatize the idea of game manager? Does that still kind of have something that people say, game manager? Or is it something that is kind of developing in the more?
Sure. I think every quarterback has to be a game manager, no matter what the production is. That's your job. You touch the ball every single snap of the game that you're out there. So there is a game manager part there as well.
Having such an early bye, not always ideal, but for you guys, can that kind of be a good moment to kind of, all right, get your feet back under you, reset as an offense, and kind of reevaluate some of the stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. You got like a small sample size, but at least like you can kind of look at where we're at, what we've done well situationally, some things we can kind of dress up a little bit, keep moving forward, or some things we kind of put on ice for a little bit. So that's been good from a personnel perspective and schematics as well.
That is Titans quarterback coach Bo Hardigree helping us understand, what helps Levis kind of operate the system, or what their intent is in helping Levis operate the system. And you get it from the mouth who's directly coaching and teaching Will Levis on a day-to-day basis. So obviously Callahan and the Colts are involved, but it is always the position coaches who have the most influence, arguably, on their respective meeting rooms. And that's who you got to go to if you're trying to understand, okay, are we seeing sufficient enough evidence that this player is making the kind of progress that they expect him to make? Now, is he going to publicly take Will Levis out if he doesn't think that Will Levis is making sufficient enough progress? No, of course that's not the case. That's not realistic. That would be, he wouldn't have a job if he was going to do something like that. Some coaches are a little more willing to hang their guys out that way, but those coaches don't tend to last very long in today's league. So he is making progress. There are things that they're working on, and they do think that giving the time for a young offense to kind of reset, get your feet under you, understand, okay, bye week. Here's what we're good at. Here's what we're not, or here's what we haven't been. Let's fine tune this thing. Let's narrow our focus a little bit before we try to expand too much too quickly and maybe overwhelm the players or maybe put the players in positions that they're not necessarily comfortable with yet. Let's get our bread and butter stuff down and let's go out there and win a football game. So we'll see if they can do it against the Colts. It will be an interesting game. Weekend bounce back. Who needs to bounce back most in sports this week? Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and on Twitch in the comment section. You guys let me know, and I will give you mine here in just a second, right after I remind you that the Primetime program is made possible by the Ashton Real Estate Group of RE/MAX Advantage. Preds are just a few minutes away from puck drop. Gary Ashton is the official real estate agent of the Nashville Predators. Go to GaryAshton.com for more information. And remember, don't sell without the intel that the Ashton team can provide. Your dream address without the stress also available to you at GaryAshton.com. So who needs to bounce back most in sports? Titans coming off a win. So it's not necessarily a bounce back opportunity, maybe a bounce back within the division. Colts could probably use a bounce back. They came up short against the Jags. They'll be looking to get right as well, try and scratch and claw their way to 500 at your expense. But the person who needs a bounce back is the Cincinnati Bengals very, very badly because I don't know how many of you saw this clip making the rounds on the internet prior to the Bengals-Ravens game kicking off this weekend, of which, of course, Bert's Ravens came out victorious. But Lamar Jackson had a little extra motivation come from an off-the-field source.
What team?
What team? Gonna be her fault too.
What team?
It's her fault.
What team?
It's her fault.
What team gonna beat us?
Today, the Bengals.
So Lamar said that he had asked for a private room at that restaurant. There was a couple of players in that private room. They're trying to enjoy a meal, and all of a sudden these Bengals fans start coming in and bothering Lamar Jackson. Apparently there was also I'll let Lamar Jackson explain that here in just a minute. But of course, you have got to be, and I know Bengals fans are probably, I think they have a good football team. I know they're 1-4, but I think they have a good football team. I think most people would probably argue on behalf of the Bengals. They're one of the best offenses in football. Burrow's not the problem, even though he threw a head-scratching interception in that Ravens game on a slant route. They're a missed field goal away from being victorious and giving the Ravens. Ravens now have won 3 straight, so they would have stopped that streak at 2 had they been able to pull off the field goal. But they weren't, and Derrick Henry got them in position, and Justin Tucker made the kick that Evan McPherson missed, and the Ravens come out victorious. So when Lamar Jackson is asked about that at a press conference, he gives a pretty funny response. I'll let you hear that in just a second. Well, actually, I'll let you hear it right now.
We were just sitting down. It was supposed to be private for us. It was me, Eddie Jackson, Zay. We were just eating. And the guy who owned the restaurant just kept, letting people, oh, yeah, this person. I don't even almost curse. But, I don't know this lady, but it was a black lady walked in. She was just, yeah, I'm a Louisville fan, but I'm a Cincinnati fan. She was nice. She was cool. And the other lady come in, and we're going to kick your ass. I'm like, I got mad. So I'm like, she going to be the reason, we end up winning. I wonder how she felt after that, though. Because she probably seen it. One of her grandsons or something probably showed it to her. But, yeah, just be a fan next time. Just let us play. Let the guys do the talking. Y'all just be the fans, though.
Is that what the stiff arm was for?
No, it wasn't for her. No, that was
Lamar Jackson is a funny guy, absolutely. But what's funnier than Lamar Jackson is Lamar Jackson's white woman voice, because that made me laugh out loud. That was pretty good. That's going to do it for us tonight. Radio show was fun today. Diana Rossini, JC Latham, go check them out. I think I started the interview with JC off on a bad note. I asked him about the Alabama game. He clearly didn't want to talk about the Alabama game, and I think I annoyed him a little bit. We did salvage it towards the end, and I talked to JC in the locker room earlier today to say, sorry, didn't mean to ruffle your feathers that way. I didn't know when we could start laughing about these things. Apparently, the Thursday after a Saturday loss, still too soon for the Alabama alum, JC Latham. And he said, we'll see who's laughing when they win the national championship. I go, yeah, you're probably right. You got pretty good odds there. But although Texas definitely the best team in college football right now. Quick reminder on the way out the door, Primetime is made possible by Zen Sports. Put all your bets in at Zen Sports with the promo code ATOZTN up to $100. on your no danger first wager. Terms and conditions do apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 plus and in the state of Tennessee to bet at Zen Sports. Radio show tomorrow. We will recap the Preds game. We'll see how they manage without UC Saros at net. That's an unfortunate thing. He's dealing with a lower body injury. They're going to start their backup, Scott Wedgwood. We'll also have Coach Mack, so we'll get you ready for Colts game. Have a great time. Enjoy the Preds game tonight. Enjoy the weekend. The next time I talk to you, we'll be on the radio show tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. See you guys.
Go home! Go home! Go home!